Welcome. Today's lesson is on oat seed judging. Before we start judging, I just want you to take a few considerations in terms of what we're looking at, and also kind of anticipate some of the things you may see. Now, oats, for the most part, is grown in the fall and then harvested in the spring here in Northern California. So it has some unique challenges in that it tends to be, especially in the spring, a little bit more humid. So there are more fungal diseases you have to watch out, and there's two of them. The one on your left is ergot, and ergot again attacks the kernels and basically renders them useless. And then on smut, which is on the one on the right, also does the same thing, but it basically turns it into just a spore generating machine. Any machines that come in, the spores get on it. Somebody walks through it, it's going to get on their pants and shoes, etc. So fungal diseases like ergot and smut are things you're going to have to watch. The difference between the two is ergot's really kind of hardened, and it will burst apart, but smut is really soft and powdery and definitely will leave the kernel much more readily. Then the other things you need to watch for are things like noxious weeds, such as Johnson grass, yellow star thistle, and then some of the common weeds. This one happens to be malva or cheeseweed. It looks kind of like a cheese wheel, and then inside when that breaks apart, releases the seeds. And then we also have another noxious weed, and one that's you'll probably see in oats would be field bindweed. So those are things you need to take in consideration and things you need to watch for as you're judging the seeds. So in sample number 1, if you take a look at this one, let's just get some quick general impressions before we actually do the reasons for this class. At this particular point, it looks pretty clean to me. It's kind of uniform, not a lot of broken seeds. At least at this point in time, I really don't see many of anything that really concern me. Common weeds, noxious weeds, etc. So I think this one looks pretty good. Let's go to sample number 2. Sample number 2, if you can take a look at it again, general impression is fairly uniform, but it's kind of dirty. A lot of chaff, a lot of plant parts, and as we take a look at it, we just see more of broken stems and awns, and just things are kind of getting in the way. Nothing really serious in terms of its condition, its uniformity, its plumpness. I kind of like that one, but it is a little bit dirtier than number 1. So let's go on to sample 3. Sample 3, if we take a look at it again, it looks pretty good, pretty harmless, although I see a couple of different colored seeds in there that might have a problem. But as we start sorting it, something comes up right away, and that, of course, is wild oats. It's not a noxious weed, but it definitely is a problem for people who grow oats, either hay or for seed. So this one, we know that already we have this wild oat in here. Also looks like some other kind of plant parts as well. But for the most part, this one looks all right, but wild oats in it, and it's just not as good as the other two. For sample 4. When we look at sample 4, again, you see something, it's kind of dirty, but it doesn't look as uniform. It looks like it has maybe a few broken kernels in there. It just doesn't have the condition and quality that we've been used to especially the top 2. But now we see some of those other, that's a common weed. That happens to be malva or cheeseweed. Looks like a cheese wheel, kind of round, and all those segments break off and they have seeds in them, and then they disperse them that way. And that's part of some of the things we see just floating around, just the pieces and parts of plant material. And then, we got that one. That one, because the rachilla goes halfway up above it and it's kind of slender, probably Johnson grass, I'm guessing. And Johnson grass is, well, a noxious weed. So those are my general impressions. So I'm going to put 1 and 2 together, compare those two at the top. And then 3 and 4, I think, are probably on the bottom. So that's what I'm going to do next, a comparison, 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4. So the comparisons, we start to get a little bit more detailed as far as how we look at it. Now, we're going to take a little bit longer. Of course, we know it's clean. We've seen it's probably free from noxious weeds. We're going to look one more time, make sure we get it all. Also, the general condition of the seed tends to be plump. It's lustrous. They're pretty much the same size. These here look pretty good, and as we sort through them, I still can't see any thing that would make me believe that it's anything less in the top pair today. So we're going to probably stick that pretty close to the top, if not the top. So let's take a look at number 2. As we've seen in the past, it is kind of a dirty sample, but it's mostly plant parts, which is relatively easy to clean, and it's going to be profitable, but not as profitable as, say, number 1. So as we look at it, I, again, can't see much outside. It's uniform, it's clean, and of course has a lot of chaff or dried up plant parts. So let's look at our second pairing comparison. Obviously, number 3, we found wild oats. Let's see if we can find anything else. And there it is. You can see one of those colored seeds I talked about earlier. And let's lift it up a little bit. And a little smile. Yeah, purple vetch is going to be. So we have another crop in it. So as wild oats, another crop. So we definitely have some issues in number 3. Also, if you look at that all together, there are the 2 culprits. That seed next to it's not wheat; it's still oats. It's just the hull has come off, and that's really what I wanted to see. Is again more plant parts in it. So we have a dirty sample, we have wild oats, we have a purple vetch. So number 4, when we look at this one, right off the top, no doubt about it. If you look at that one in the middle in particular, that is Johnson grass with the Richella. As it goes halfway up and has a little knob on it. And I'll try to focus in on that, and you can maybe see that knob and everything else that's there. And the Malva pieces and parts, that's going to be a bit of a problem, I think. So there you have it. And when I kind of weigh all of them, on the one hand, we have 1 and 2. They're at the top, and I like number 1 first, primarily because of its cleanliness. So let's go ahead and give reasons for these. Sir, I placed this class of oat seed in the order of 1, 2, 3, and 4. I believe today we have obvious winners in our top 2 places, 1 and 2. I like number 1 in first place because it's very clean. It's lustrous, it's plump. It really shows, I think, a lot of care and quality in the shipping and growing department. And I believe that this one will probably yield the highest of all of them and have the highest seed vigor of the bunch today. A very close second is sample number 2. This too had all the qualities of number 1, but I had to place it in second because of the plant parts, the chaff, the inert material. It needs to go back to the cleaner, but once that's cleaned up, that too is going to be very, very competitive out in the field like number 1. When we get to number 3, though, in place number 3, I like to put plate number 3. Plate number 3 had reproducible factors that we can't deny that are there and are going to take away from the profitability and yield that you're going to have out in the field. I believe that number 3, it has some problems with it. It has another crop, that being purple vetch, and also has wild oats. So those are those folks who take that seed and plant it for hay, they're going to have some issues. So that's why I placed it number 3. But overall, I think the worst sample today was sample number 4. Sample number 4, first of all, was dirty, had a lot of chaff, and had a lot of plant material. And it had the noxious weed of Johnson grass, which is kind of very invasive and takes over because of the rhizome or the roots or the stem structure in it. And also, it also had a common weed, that being Malva, which is a difficult weed to control. It's not noxious, but still a different, kind of a difficult weed to get a handle on. So for these reasons, I place the set of oat seed in the order of 1, 2, 3, and 4. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that has helped you, and I hope that you're going to continue to get better on your reasons as well as your judging. I hope that this will prepare you for your next contest, because that's where we're going to see you next. Thanks.